Hello everybody, good evening, welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge and we've got some big breaking news on a Friday night to do with transfers. It's coming in from David Ornstein and Manchester United are getting serious about De Ligt. Well, does that make you happy? Does that make you smile? Well, we're going to be talking about that because David Ornstein is not going to drop something speculative. We've heard links to De Ligt quite a while now. Christian Falk was talking about it today and I chose just not to mention it on the 2 o'clock show because I thought, well, Christian Falk's very close to Bayern Munich, but maybe it's just generating interest for Bayern Munich. When David Ornstein says that Manchester United are serious, and we'll go through what he exactly said in a moment, then to me, this means that De Ligt now is moving right up the table. And what does that mean for Branthwaite? Also, South American reports are saying that Ugarte to Manchester United is very close. How much weight do we put on that? And Fabrizio has just dropped not a Romano. Fabrizio's just dropped a Romano. Fabrizio's just dropped a Xerxes update as well. Obviously, I've been down the pub. It's Friday night. It's 8 o'clock on a Friday night for the first time in 2 weeks because of the Euros. So we're having it. We're loving it like that. And what I wanted to do on the show tonight was, because the Friday night show's back and it's always a bit different and vibrant and fun, is I wanted to delve into some of you. A bit of a Q&A going in the second half as well. David Pornstein, says Ken. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there is somebody you can look up for that, but really, that's not what we're going to be going on about at all. Before we get into that, though, let's talk about Boohoo Man. They are sponsoring the show. You know Boohoo Man on this channel. You can get all sorts of stuff. They got stuff like this. If you're feeling a bit Eurosy, you could get a hat and put that on. They've got loads of stuff. They've got football wear, they've got gym wear, they've got lounge wear, they've got going out wear, they've got everywhere, they've got underwear, they've got it all. And you can get it delivered to your door at fantastic prices with website-wide discounts anyway. But on top of that, they're giving you, the United Stand viewer, an extra 10% off with the code Goldbridge. Links in the description or scan the QR code. And even if it's already got a discount, you can add that 10% on top with the code Goldbridge. And on top of that, they're also going to give you a little bit of trivia for a Friday night. So who am I? I was born on the 30th of April 1981 in County Waterford. I'll get it straight away. During my 12 years at Man United, I won 5 Premier League titles, 1 FA Cup, 2 Football League Cups, and the Champions League. In July 2011, I left United and signed a 4-year deal with Sunderland. I made 118 appearances for the Republic of Ireland, and I'm currently the interim manager of the Republic of Ireland national football team, but I'm on holiday in Benidorm. It is, of course, one and only, one of the best utility players, and I say that in a positive way, John O'Shea. If you got it, well done. Simon Herring got it as well. Fantastic. Check out Boohoo Man. Big shout out to them. Use the code. Get yourself some delivered. Loads of people with O'Shea there. Well, look, John O'Shea could play as a centre-back, and so can De Ligt. So this is what David Ornstein has had to say. Well, Mario Franco's got a super chat in. Rob Taff, welcome to the Members Club. Get your badge in. Absolute legend. Thanks for your support. Mario Franco says, Branthwaite and De Ligt looks like we will spend big. Well, we'll talk about what it means for Branthwaite because this is what David Ornstein said in his own update. Manchester United are seriously considering a move to De Ligt from Bayern Munich. De Ligt is viewed as an increasingly viable candidate as United's efforts to strengthen their backline intensify. The pursuit of De Ligt is independent to that of Branthwaite. Now, what that means is independent means it's on its own. Branthwaite is happening and De Ligt is happening independently. It's not that we've dropped interest in Branthwaite to go for De Ligt. We could end up with Branthwaite and De Ligt is basically the update. We could end up with neither. We might go for other options. But you know what I've done? I've gone and got my stats from Wyscout. I've got Van Dijk, Maguire, Varane and De Ligt. Compared them over the last year. We're talking passing stats, tackling, aerial. We're going to go through all of that in a minute. And I'm not talking about the Little Mermaid. I'm talking about aerial jewels. We're going to talk about that in a moment. But look, how do we do this as a poll, everybody? Would you be happy with De Ligt? I suppose that's the most broad way to do it. Would you be happy with De Ligt? Of course, there's always going to be context. I think it's bullshit, Mark. 260k a week, surely we won't. Jim's straight away. We're going to do comment of the evening tonight, and Jim's has got it early. Doesn't mean he's going to win. You know, it's a bit like, you know, time trials in F1. You might have the quickest time now, but you might not at the end of the hour. So I would say, well, Sin Game says not the same league, Mark. No, not the same league. But what do you want me to do? Like, I can't, you know, the Bayern Munich got to the final of the Champions League. No, they didn't. They got to the semi-final. Dortmund got to the final. Leverkusen considered one of the best teams in the world at the moment. So, you know, the Bundesliga, I can only go on that. But Jim's mentions 260k a week. What's my opinion on this? Look, if David Ornstein hadn't said this, and you might want to listen to this because I wrote this down. If David Ornstein hadn't said this, I wouldn't think we were in for De Ligt. My stance would be similar to Jim. 260 grand a week is what he's on at Bayern Munich. We can't pay that. 3 years left on his contract makes him 45 million. We can't pay 45 million and 260 grand a week. That's $1 million a month. That's 12 million pounds a year. That's 36 foot, you know, it's 40 million on a contract straight away in wages, and it's 40 million to Bayern Munich. So it's 80 million for De Ligt as a combined wages, not to mention what his agent will get. We can't afford that. Logically, I would say we can't afford that. So that would be me out. And I would say me out, not me. I wasn't being a cat. Meow. That would be me out of that deal. And I would say Christian Falk and Plettigol. Now, Plettigol, who is a German-based journalist, said this a few minutes ago. Manchester United, De Ligt, is getting more and more concrete. Now, what I would say is, are Selco or B&Q sponsoring this summer transfer window? Why are so many journalists using the word concrete when they've never used it before? Romano's got concrete. Ornstein's got concrete. Plettigol's got concrete. Why is concrete the word of the journalists around transfers this year? I don't know what's going on there. Are they subconsciously trying to get us to buy concrete? Have they got shares in concrete? I don't know what's going on. But Plettigol says concrete for De Ligt and Manchester United. So if it was just Plettigol and Christian Falk, who are German journalists, talking about Man United and De Ligt like they have been for the last few weeks, then I would say, remember the 5 principles, the United Stand 5 principles, the 5 rules of a transfer. 1, it's true. 2, it's bullshit. 3, it's the club using Manchester United to generate interest. 4, it's the player and the agent using us to generate interest. Or 5, it's the player and the agent generating interest to get a contract at the club they're at. Now, if you don't believe those principles, what did we say about Anselman, the Argentinian at Boca Juniors, linked to us quite comprehensively a week ago, has signed for Chelsea? Were we bollocks in for him? That's Boca Juniors or the agent using us to get Chelsea to do the deal, because the minute Chelsea think we want it, what? Get out of the way. And that we were never in for that lad. We were never getting him. We were never going for him, because we need 2 experienced centre-backs that can come straight into the team. We weren't looking at him, not seriously, but Boca Juniors and the agent made it out that we were, and Chelsea go and get the deal done. So I would look at this and go, yeah, this is Bayern Munich using Manchester United. We need a centre-back. Lille might be doing it with Yoro. Palace might be doing it with Guehi. You know, a lot of clubs know we need a centre-back. Oh, Man United want De Ligt. Generate a bit. Who else wants De Ligt? Who wants De Ligt? Bayern Munich want to sell De Ligt. Everybody knows that. But who else wants to buy him other than Man United? So I would say, bollocks. They're just using us to generate interest until David Ornstein comes in. And then I go, well, that's not the truth then. Because David Ornstein's not going to help Bayern Munich out or the agent. He's only going to report something that he believes to be true. So I think you've got to bring De Ligt into the conversation now. Even I would admit it. The wages concern me. We'll talk about the player in a moment. The price concerns me. But you can't lie about this. You can't lie about this. We clearly are in for him. Now, whether we end up getting him or not, David Ornstein just wouldn't do that. David Ornstein, Simon Stone, Fabrizio Romano, they're not going to make up a story about somebody because they know their credibility is on the line, and they live off that credibility, quite rightly. So we are in for De Ligt. He could well end up being a Manchester United player. But you know why I think we are in for him now, and I don't think it's just Bayern Munich generating interest? Because there are a lot of people out there that profess to do videos or tweets or articles that they're in the know. And you don't understand why they're in the know, but they seem... Look, Alexis Sanchez a few years ago got really good information way before anybody else that he was coming to Man United. It happened years ago. It was brilliant. It was the first transfer we ever really got that nobody else knew, and it was great. We've had others. I knew about Anthony way before. I knew about Rasmus obviously way before, but it's not a tap I can turn on or off. Like, sometimes you get information, sometimes you don't, because it's never the same place you get it from. So when I see people on, websites who are not Ornstein or Romano, they're not even a journalist, and they're going, this is what Man United are doing, this is what Man United are doing, or it's on Twitter, or it's on a YouTube channel or something like that, I never believe it, because I'm like, there's no way you could have all that information. David Ornstein hasn't got all that. Romano hasn't got all that. And they're bloody brilliant. And yet you're telling us this guy at left back, this guy at centre back, you're hearing this about the midfield. And I know they're Billy bullshitters. They're literally Billy bullshitters. But I tell you why we know they're Billy bullshitters now. And there's nothing wrong with being a Billy bullshitter. If you can grow off that, well done. But what I find really interesting about this summer is nobody knew Ten Hag was staying until David Ornstein dropped it. Nobody knew that at all. Nobody knew that we weren't getting to Debo because of UEFA until Romano dropped it. Nobody knew that we were seriously in for De Ligt until tonight when David Ornstein dropped it. And nobody knew that we were after the go-ahead Eagles manager until Romano dropped it. And nobody knew we were after Rude until that got dropped out either. So for all these ITKs, they're not hitting very often with a lot of stuff that they had no clue about at all. So, look, are Ineos changing Manchester United? Of course they are. But I love it. I love it. We can all have an opinion, and ultimately, Drip Football says Ornstein better than Romano. Well, I don't play that game. I like David Ornstein and I like Fabrizio Romano, and I think we're lucky to live in a world where we've got two. I'm not saying they're Messi and Ronaldo, but I'd rather have had a world of Messi and Ronaldo than just Messi or just Ronaldo, and I'd rather have a transfer world of Ornstein and Romano. And Romano dropped it about the go-ahead Eagles guy and Todibo and Rude, so they complement each other, and I think it's great. Two people desperate to get the hit on every transfer makes us get more information. So, I don't play these either-or games, really. I think they're both very, very good. But the great thing for me is that we can all pass an opinion, and that's what we are, ultimately. When I set the United Stand Up, it was just me, Kev, Rich, Martin, Alex, once a week on a Sunday, just giving our opinion. And that's all it should be, really. And yeah, you do get inside information and you do get told stuff, and that's great, but we're here to react. We're here to have an opinion, and I'm loving it this summer. I loved it. I genuinely thought Ten Hag was going to lose his job, and then it dropped from nowhere from Ornstein that he was staying. I was like, get in! It drops that we're getting this go-ahead Eagles manager. Get in! It drops that we're in for De Ligt. Ooh, I'm not saying get in. I'll talk about the player in a minute, but I'm like, well, that's genuine then. Come on, no one's talking about that. I thought it was just German journalists generating interest. So I like it. I like it. No one seems to know what's happening until it drops from the credible people at the moment. And I'm all for that. I'm all for that. I think an underrated part of De Ligt is his leadership. Him and Martinez would be ferocious. Watch Brazil versus Costa Rica in Brazil. Fall off is crazy, says Ahmed. Mark, we've just been linked to Gutierrez from Girona by Spanish sources. Could be fake, but would be a good signing, says Snazzy. He's the left back, isn't he? Hoping they get... Well, it'd be hard to do because it's the City group as well, Girona. Hoping they get lucky with one of their guesses so they can build a following. It's all bullshit from those no-name accounts, says Ivan. De Ligt was brilliant and Ajax and Juve. He was Juve's second best player after Ronaldo. At Bayern, he was great, but Tuchel doesn't like him. He is fast, technical, had a shoulder injury, which doesn't worry me. It's a 7-inch destroyer. Not of a Varane upgrade with the wages and prices, Joel. In my opinion, De Ligt is the Dutch Maguire, says Obam. He rejected us twice. He got found out by Juve and Bayern. Now he's ready to come. Not for me. And people calling De Ligt slow have never seen him, says 7-inch destroyer. Go for Bastoni and solve this once and for all, says Escape. Well, Mark, what pints did you have? Any cold ones in the fridge? Madri. I've got some Madri in the fridge, and I had Madri in the pub. Would De Ligt be a delight to play with, Mark, says Goldio. And do you think Martinez is going to move to left back? No, Christopher. He had 4 injuries last season, a bad knee injury. No way, not another sick note player, says Paul. Right, okay. I'm going to give you my opinion on De Ligt. When he was at Ajax, I'd have took him in a heartbeat. 70% of you would take him. Look, I think when you're talking about a player and it's speculative, you're more critical. I think when you find out that your club is genuinely looking at the player, you're a little bit more forgiving. That's just natural. Now that we're genuinely looking at De Ligt, I'm more sympathetic to the positives. And what I mean by that is, I really liked him at Ajax, and I'd have loved him to come to Manchester United. The big thing that stands out to me about De Ligt when I go back to Ajax is his aerial ability, his ability on the ball, his tackling, and his leadership. They would be the four things. And we all remember that speech when they'd won the league and he was talking afterwards. So I really liked him as a player. Juventus didn't go as great as it could have done, and Bayern Munich's not gone as great as it could have done. And there's mitigating circumstances, of course, but the bottom line is it didn't go as well as it could have done at either club. So Manchester United looking at him, the risk for me is if it goes wrong, I think we get criticised. Let's start with the negatives. If it goes wrong, I think we get criticised because he was a good player at Ajax who has gone to Juventus, to Bayern, to Man United, and it's not gone great at Juventus, it's not gone great at Bayern, and if it doesn't go great here, then we will be looked at and people will say the warning signs are there. When it comes to injury, it's quite a long injury thing, but quite rightly, like 7-Inch Destroyer said, the longest injury he's had in the last 4 years was 3 months with a shoulder injury at Juventus. All the other injuries he's had, last year he was out for a month with a knee ligament tear. He's had a few knocks, but there's nothing significant. Like, Martinez was out for 3-4 months twice. Luke Shaw is out for 3 or 4 months. Maguire's been out for 2 months. These injuries that we've had last season, I mean, he's not had an injury like that since the 2019-2020 year. And I would expect, when it comes to injury, that the medical team does its bloody job. So I'll always take on board injury, and we've got to scrutinise every player, of course. But in relation to the player himself, first of all, is he slow? No, he's not slow. But you'll know I said a few weeks ago, he ain't fast either. Like, he's not Harry Maguire slow. No way. He's not Victor Lindelof slow. No way. I don't think he's Varane quick, and he's certainly not going to be, a quick centre-back quick. If we're marking him out of 100 on pace and you give Maguire a 60, I would put De Ligt around sort of 75, and a quick centre-back would be around 90. I think he is more than capable of playing in a back two, and his positional sense is good. I think if he's in a straight race against someone like Kylian Mbappe on the halfway line and the ball's over the top and the keeper's not sweeping, you're in trouble. But their end of the lesson, if you've got De Ligt and Martinez and Onana as a keeper, it would work 95% of the season. Of course, there might be an occasion where he gets stuck on the halfway line with Haaland and it's a problem, but how many times is that going to happen? I think when you've got Maguire and Johnny Evans, it's a problem because they're slow. But De Ligt's not slow. He's just not sprint fast. Now, it depends what you want. Do I think De Ligt and Martinez as a two can send the fullbacks forward and be left on the halfway line? Yeah. I'm not convinced, but I'm not no. I think it can work. I think De Ligt is the sort of player that has leadership qualities. He is similar to Martinez in the fact that he has that last-ditch tackle ability where he's physical and he'll fly in, which is, his leadership qualities as well. Would I be as confident as Martinez and somebody like Todibo, or would I be more confident with Martinez and De Ligt? And it's stupid because De Ligt's probably better than Todibo, but I think Todibo has more mobility, which I feel next to Martinez you need somebody that's quick, but I don't think De Ligt is slow. But interestingly as well, De Ligt is 6'2", and when I compare him to Maguire and everybody in a moment, he's actually quite good in the air. So, look, if Ineos and Ten Hag think De Ligt's the right guy, I'm not going to go, this is a bad decision. Every transfer has its risks. There are some risks, but there are some big positives as well. You know, as much as it might not work, it might work as well. But of course, the barrier I have is 250 grand a week wages and 40 million pounds to Bayern Munich is a lot. It is a lot. Those wages are a lot of money. And can you get them down when he's got 3 years left on his contract? I don't see how you would. I'm unsure on De Ligt. The biggest plus for me is his leadership, because we don't really have any leaders. Some will say Bruno, but not really in my opinion, says Rory. And also Rory, it seems to me at the moment that, I was talking about this on the 2 o'clock show, some people understood what I said and some people didn't. And I saw somebody in a chat group I was in today. They got it absolutely spot on. If it feels like an Ineos transfer, if it feels like a De Ligt, if it feels like a Ten Hag transfer, and yet there is no such thing. You know, Ugarte apparently is an Ineos signing. Oh, De Ligt would be a Ten Hag signing. You know, and it, you know, I'm not saying Ugarte is or De Ligt isn't, but we seem to have that in a little bit at the moment. And what people need to realise is there's no such thing. Ten Hag doesn't get to sign anybody without Ineos saying we agree with it. So, and it might work the other way as well. So it's a collective. And we're not going to make signings just because Ten Hag wants to have them anymore. It will be a collective decision. So, look, I like the player. I agree with Rory. I think the leadership thing is really important. And also, one of the positives I would say is that, you know what? Really positive. And some see it as a negative. Oh, he's played with Ten Hag before. Good. Like, good. Like, really good. So you're telling me this guy knows this manager and knows how he wants to play, and he'll be playing at centre-back? The one player that's worked for Manchester United that played with Ten Hag before is Martinez. If we can bring another one in who knows how to do it as well, and then you've got the goalkeeper behind who knows how to do it, suddenly you've got De Ligt, Martinez and Onana who've all played for Ten Hag before. Bloody hell. It's like the Bermuda Triangle. You know, attacks are going to go missing in there. So I like this. I like this idea. I mean, obviously it's got to transform to the Premier League, but imagine De Ligt, Martinez and Onana as a triangle who've all played with Ten Hag before and knows what he wants to do. Baby, it could be great. It could be great. But look, that's, you know, that could be pie in the sky, of course. But I think the big thing as well is that it's independent of Branthwaite. So you could get Branthwaite and De Ligt. And I'll tell you what, there are a lot of different combinations. And I do like Todibo, and I think Ineos like Todibo. And I think De Ligt might be the Todibo alternative if we use our brains. Because if we could have a centre-back roster of Martinez, De Ligt, Branthwaite, Kamwala, and maybe Johnny Evans for another year, and we sell Maguire and Lindelof, and Varane's already gone, you know, I'm quite happy with that. I am quite happy with that. Hi, Mark. Will we sign a left back or will we play Amas and Shaw? I don't think Amas will be ready, Harrison, but, you know, never say never. Any updates on Frimpong? Not at the moment. Is this the kind of deal we should avoid? Is the kind of deal we should avoid not worth it, says Keel, but why? I reckon he could be a perfect player for the new system Ten Hag is trying to implement. No nonsense defender. Martinez and him would be feared, says Harris. Just as well, Romano has said tonight that Heck, is it Heck? Dutch people, Heck, the go-ahead Eagles manager, have I got it right? Rene Heck, is pretty much said he's coming to Manchester United. If you've seen any clips on that guy, he ain't fucking about. He ain't messing about. Forget about it. He ain't messing about. He's a character. He's got his ideas. Rude's got his ideas. I mean, we basically just brought 2 bloody managers in to work with Ten Hag. Fucking brilliant. Bring it on. So no Todibo then. He's the standout centre-back for me. Look, I want Todibo captain, but I'm not sure it's going to happen. I say take him for a season on loan like Amrabat. I mean, I'd look... Yeah. That Tammy, do you think Bayern would do it? We pay, you know, 70% of his wages for a year with an option to buy. Why not? But I don't know whether Bayern would do it. Amrabat should be signed, underrated and cheap, says Matthew. What film would I be watching if this quote? What's the matter? CIA got you pushing too many pencils? Also, why are you so great? I don't know that film, Nbred Yeti. Have you seen the video of Heck screaming at the players? Yes, Dan. We Want the Same Thing was on the radio today. Yeah, I love that song, Yash. Romano's accent is fake. Heard him in a pub. He speaks proper English after a pint, says Parker. De Ligt would be counterproductive to the way Ten Hag wants to play. Lissandro needs a pacey, tall cover partner, not an upgraded Maguire. He'd be a backup, says Stephen. Right, okay. So Lisandro Martinez needs a pacey, tall cover to partner him. Right, well, De Ligt is tall, 6'2", and he ain't slow. Like, look, I know a lot about De Ligt because I know a lot about him from Ajax, and Juventus is my Italian team. So I haven't seen much of him at Bayern. I don't know what's gone there, but I know the player. I remember a lot about him, you know, when we looked at him in the Ajax days, and I saw a bit of him at Juventus. And I do like... I don't know why he's not starting for the Netherlands, though. We haven't mentioned that. I don't know why he's not starting for the Netherlands. But then again, Van der Ven's not starting for the Netherlands. So Koeman could be another bloody Southgate, couldn't he? But let me just give you something. I want to talk about Ugarte and some other bits, of course, and I want to get into your questions. But let me just give you some stats. So this is from Y-Scout, which I use. It's a paid service for like stats and stuff, which I sometimes bring in. I don't mention it much during the season, but in the transfer window, it's quite handy when you're, talking about targets. We did Ugarte against Onana at 2 o'clock. So first of all, I've got Van Dijk, I've got Maguire, I've got Varane, and I've got De Ligt last season stats. Interestingly enough, he played the least amount of games, 31 compared to Varane's 32, and I think Maguire was 31, and Maguire was 32. Van Dijk played 57. So let's talk height. 189 centimeters De Ligt, Varane 191, Maguire 194, and Van Dijk 193. So he's not small. He's not small by any means. Right, let's have a look at relevant on position. So aerial duels per 90. 4.8 Van Dijk, 4.7 Maguire, 2.3 Varane, 4.5 De Ligt. So De Ligt is not quite at the level of Van Dijk and Maguire, 4.7 Maguire per 90, but 4.5 De Ligt. Varane was 2.3. So De Ligt is actually good in the air and gets involved in the air. And he wins 63% of his aerial duels. Maguire wins 67%. So he's very close to Harry Maguire in aerial ability. And we know Harry Maguire is very good in the air. It's other areas that Maguire gets criticised for. In relation to passing, which I think is absolutely massive, 64% passes per 90 for Van Dijk, 54 passes per 90 for Maguire, 45 passes per 90 for Varane, 62 for De Ligt. So De Ligt is right up there with Van Dijk and 10 ahead of Maguire and 20 ahead of Varane. Accuracy with his passing, Van Dijk 93%, De Ligt 95%. So he's passing as much as Van Dijk and he's passing better with better accuracy. Defensive actions per 90, okay. Why does it keep doing this? Did this last time. Let me just see if I can get this back working. It keeps playing up for some reason. Where did I do that then? Has it reset? No, it's not reset. So sorry. I just want to quickly do the defensive stuff as well. Successful defensive actions. No, I don't want relevant. I want defensive. Successful defensive actions per 90. 6.7 Van Dijk, 8.1 Maguire, 8.5 Varane, 7 for De Ligt. So Maguire and Varane with more successful defensive actions last season. But to be honest, they were overworked. I mean, if we're being honest, playing for Man United in the defence last year, you were busy, weren't you? So I think all around, when it comes to De Ligt, he ain't slow. He's not super fast, but he's not slow. Like, he's not slow. He is very good in the air. He's very good at passing. And he's very good at tackling. He's a good centre-back. He is a good centre-back. You can sense the reticence in my voice because there is a little bit. But when I deep it, and I know that we're actually looking at him now, it's not that I don't like the signing. I think he's a good player, and if we sign him, I'll certainly be excited. I I worry a little bit about Juventus and Bayern. I worry a lot about the wage. So, you know, we'll just have to wait and see. De Ligt would be, we've done that one, thank you very much. Ahmed, thanks for being a member for 11 months. De Ligt for 40 to 50 million pounds is good business, says Zooting. Yeah, I mean, he's only going to be 25 in August as well. I mean, let's not forget, we're comparing him to Van Dijk, Maguire and Varane, who are all 30 or above, aren't they? So, you know, it's the uncertainty, as Ant says, yeah. De Ligt is the perfect centre-back for a big Champions League night and could be the backbone of our defence for a very long time. Knows the Ten Hag system, bring him in, says GGMU. And I tell you what, there is an interesting point there as well. He's 25 this summer. This is his last chance at a big club. He ain't going anywhere after this. If it goes well at Man United, you're here for your prime years. So this is like 5-6 years of De Ligt. And Martinez is around the same age as well. Branthwaite, if we can get him, is younger. Camboire is younger. You could sort your centre-back situation out for the next few years massively, couldn't you? Marvin says, why were you more critical of the Mount and Onana signing last year in comparison to De Ligt? Well, Marvin, I can't. I obviously have to defend myself, and I think there will be many people jumping to my defence here. I wasn't critical of the Mason Mount deal. I know a lot of people were, but you can't throw me into that stereotype. I wasn't critical of the Mason Mount deal. What I said was, I really like Mason Mount, and I think he's a good player. I just don't get the signing. I didn't really understand why we did it, but what I said was, I'm excited to see what we're going to do with him because I don't really get why we've done that deal. And I felt he was meant to be the replacement for Eriksen in a Casemiro, Mount and Bruno. I always liked Mason Mount as a player. I wasn't critical of it because I liked the player. I was just a little bit confused by it. On Onana, I didn't want De Gea to get sold. But then we got Onana, and I liked Onana. I liked what he'd done at Inter. I liked him at Ajax. So as soon as the deal was done, I didn't like the way we treated De Gea. I'll put my hands up. But Onana, I liked him. I'm actually quite surprised how bad he was in his first season. In fact, I liked Onana more than we bought him than when he actually played because I thought he was pretty bad last season, to be honest with you. But if we can get that defensive line higher, I think we'll see a different Onana. I like De Ligt, but the wages might be an issue, says Cameron. De Ligt is like Ruben Diaz, neither fast nor slow. I think that's a great point, Abdul, actually. I think you're absolutely right there. Ruben Diaz isn't fast, but he's not slow. I think that's exactly what De Ligt is. Perfect. Good explanation. De Ligt, to me, would be the signing to go far ahead of Branthwaite. At least he would cover Varane being gone, says Dean. I think De Ligt for Varane is an upgrade, actually. You know, even when you look at those stats, Varane, he's winning more. Varane's passing out from the back and his aerial duels are far lower than De Ligt. So he is, of course. Can you see Lindelof leaving, says Alex? I think if we buy two centre-backs, Lindelof goes and surely Maguire goes as well. I mean, why would Harry Maguire want to be fourth choice centre-back again when he's just lost his England place? I don't see Maguire staying or Lindelof if we buy two centre-backs. It's the movie Predator, mate. Dylan, you sob. Oh, I need to watch that. It's Predator 2. Oh, no, it's Predator 1, Sumi. Couldn't we get to Lebo in the January transfer window, says Raz. And don't forget, Branthwaite played with Rude at PSV. We're getting good. I love this, says Ernesto. Has De Ligt and Martinez and Onana played in the same squad, says Ben. That was something that was in my head. I can't answer it. I want to say that De Ligt won't have played with Martinez, but probably played with Onana, and Onana played with Martinez. But I don't think all three of them played together. But somebody in the chat will know that. Mark, it's a shame you left Talk Sport before having a go at that Pratt Simon Jordan. It would have made a great debate, says Alaya. Yeah, I tried, mate. You always bottled it, so we move on. Leave it. Need to clear out McTominay, Maguire, Eriksen and strengthen the squad. Ugarte and De Ligt would be nice. I'd keep Wan-Bissaka unless we get Frimpong. Best show on YouTube, says Rob, and that's because of you. Sean Keane's been a member for 20 months. He's a legend. One interesting thing to think about is who would Bayern replace him with. We want to be up there competing with Bayern in the latter stages of the Champions League, says Rory C. Is De Ligt more favourable than Kim Min-jae, says Spin? It's interesting, actually, isn't it? Because Man United wanted him. There is a centre-back that Bayern Munich want. talk to me in the chat. There is a centre-back that they want. I can't remember who it is. Stats are interesting, but if he struggled in 2 slower leagues, how would he fare in this league, which is much quicker and physical, says Ray. Maybe it'd suit him better. Italian centre-backs don't normally work well in the Premier League, you're right. But maybe this league would suit him better. Maybe it would suit him worse, I don't know. Stats are interesting, but if he struggled, I've done that one from Ray. Do you think this could be a loan deal, says Stallion? I'd like it. And Dan says, Guehi or De Ligt. Well, you know what? I know what I want to say, but Dan, I will get myself out of jail here and say there's not really... You've got to bring the price in. De Ligt's available for 40. Guehi's going to be about 60, maybe 65, which pushes me towards De Ligt. If they were both £40 million, I'd probably go Guehi, if I'm being honest. But, yeah, I think the price is going to be the problem, and that has to be a factor, of course. Let me talk to you about Ugarte. I want to talk to you... Oh, they're going for Jonathan Tah. That's who they're going for. Is going to Bayern. Thank you very much. I knew there was somebody. I agree with Melcher. De Ligt is excellent at passing. Mark, look at Diamonde from Sporting. Looks perfect, says JM. Look, Sporting have got 2 centre-backs, Anacho and Diamonde. Both very, very good. Bring back going for Goldbridge. Is that the one in the car? I can bring that back. 70% of you would like De Ligt. I'm going to run that as a poll. So 70% of you said you would like him. Let me run this as a poll. Either or. Branthwaite, De Ligt. Look, we could get both, but I just want to see where we're at on that at the moment. Look, Diamonde's interesting. We've not really been linked to him. The centre-back market is packed out with options this summer. There's no doubt about it. So, Ugarte. ESPN, South America. Can't remember which country. This afternoon, Manchester United, Ugarte, basically going to happen. That comes out this afternoon. I've had a few people contact me about it saying what are my thoughts, which is always a nice thing. And honestly, I don't know the source enough to know whether it's true, but it was around that time this afternoon that came out that Fabrizio tweeted that Boca Juniors had sold Anselman to Chelsea. And I thought, well, hold on a minute. It was last week that South American sources were saying that Man United were going to buy him, Anselman. So, Ugarte to Man United, as much as I would like it to happen, I've played the game. He's played the game. I've played the game. And I have played the game. And I'm used to Man United assigning this player, and then Man United doesn't sign this player. And it always comes back to the 5. And on this, I don't feel we're close to signing Ugarte. I feel that his agent is pushing Man United to smoke out other offers, because that's how it works. So if Romano or Ornstein drop it over the weekend that Ugarte to Man United's nearly done, we will go back to that source in South America and say he was onto something. But I don't think that we are like winners yet, which is what that tweet sort of said. Man United have won the race for Ugarte. I don't think we have yet. I hope we do. I really hope we do. I know we were talking about Anana from Everton or Ugarte from PSG this afternoon. I did a video with Toffee TV actually this afternoon. They said, would I go on and talk about Branthwaite, because a lot of Everton fans are getting pissed off with United fans. So I said, yeah, I'm happy to do that. I like the lads there. And they were talking about Anana. I said, absolutely no. And they were like, why? He's a good player. I said, I don't want to go into negotiations with Everton again. I've had enough for this summer, regardless of whether we get Branthwaite or not. I don't want to go negotiating with Everton again on another deal. It's already gone on too long with Branthwaite, so I'm not interested in doing that. Are Rude and Rennie Hack coming in to add to McLaren and Van der Gaag or to replace them, says Anand? Hopefully, they're coming in to work with them. I think Van der Gaag is quite ambitious and may well be going. But, you know, if they're replacing them both, fine. I think we need to bring a lot more people in as well. But if they're all staying, you know, the more the merrier. I don't really care. Hotometer's back in the morning, Manish. We'll have a brand new Hotometer on the 10 o'clock show tomorrow. Don't you worry about that. Would you be happy with Ugarte and De Ligt, says Joban. I've got to give the update on Xerxes, but I want to get into some of your questions as well. So fly them in. Let's try and get through those. It's very close between De Ligt and Branthwaite at the moment. Loving having the 8 o'clock show back, by the way. Make sure you get involved. I'm going to gift out some memberships in a minute. I didn't mention it at the start of the show because I thought that's a mistake. Never mention that you're giving out memberships at the start of the show, because the people who just watch the first 10 minutes will hang around for the memberships, whereas the proper ultras, the real ones, they're here 45 minutes in. They're the ones who should get rewarded with the membership. So we'll be giving out some of those in a moment. We should go for Arahu from Barcelona. Top quality, fast and physical. He's currently rejecting their renewal offers, says John. Well, you know, we always get linked to him, like we always get linked to Frankie de Jong. So, but I don't think there's anything happening. SK says there's been breaking news. Everton just sold Godfrey to Atalanta. Does that mean Everton can afford to keep Branthwaite now, says SK? I don't... Look, it's funny because I was talking to the Everton YouTube channel today and we were talking about Branthwaite. And it started off being a bit like, you said, la, la, la. But we get on and we ended up sort of having an even ground where basically... Everton fans have got Everton's interests at heart and we've got our interests at heart, and they're not going to be the same because we want Branthwaite and they want Branthwaite. But what we did agree on is that Everton have clearly shown an interest to Man United that they'll sell, and Branthwaite has clearly shown an interest that he'll come to Man United. But Everton want a certain fee, and that might mean it doesn't happen. But what we agreed on is, even the Everton fans said it to me and I said it, none of us want to be sat waiting for this for the next month. If we're walking away and it's not going to happen, let's get it official. If it's going to get left, oh, it might happen for the next 6 weeks, it benefits no one. If it's going to happen, let's get it done. But it can't just keep going on. And I think with Everton raising money before June the 30th, all they are doing is strengthening their hand in the Branthwaite negotiations. I.e., I think it might be time to walk away because they might be in a situation where they go, we're only selling him if you give us 60 million up front. In which case United go, well, we're not doing that. We can't do that. We've got to walk away. And we've already said this, haven't we? If Man United want to change their perception in the transfer window, they're going to have to burn a few deals. And when I say burn, publicly walk away. You know, publicly walk away. They can't lose here. Everton will say our price was 60 million and we weren't going to go any lower. And Man United can walk away and go, we weren't playing 60 million. We weren't going to do it. We wanted to do the deal. We spoke about it, but we can't do it. And we walked away. Everton can hold their court and say, look, we didn't buckle. And we can say, we didn't get ripped off. And you walk away. What you think of the Georgia striker who's at Lazio, says Darren. I don't think he's coming to Man United. Keep up the great work, Mark. Road to 2 million, says Paul. Yes, please do subscribe. Bottom right-hand corner. Big shout out to Paul. We are on the road to 2 million. Would you take Iheanacho over Branthwaite? He seems a more universal defender and a better passer. Could also slot in at left-back if Shaw gets hurt again, says Michael. I think if we don't get Branthwaite, it'll be interesting where we do go, because Branthwaite obviously solves the left-sided problem, whereas I think De Ligt could, you know, we've not mentioned that as well. I think De Ligt could fill in at left. I mean, he's right-footed, but I think he is. I've seen some of the tackles he does with his left foot, and he can pass with his left. Paul Crampton's gifted 5 memberships. What a legend! What's your favourite food? Says Margot Robbie. Lasagna. De Ligt almost puts Eric Dyer out of Bayern team, says Harold. Happy we can finally do multiple deals at once, says Eduardo. Thank you very much to that. Mojo has gifted 5 memberships as well. Absolute legend. Lovely to see others gifting memberships as well. I'll be doing that in a moment. Right, let me talk to you about Xerxes. Bit of a Romano update. Some might say not a massive one, but I think it's more of a clarity update with regards to what's happening with Ben Godfrey has gone to Atalanta for 10 million, so that is a positive for Everton and their raising of the money. There was an update here. 19 million Chelsea have paid for Kellyman. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I think he's played one Premier League game and they've got 19 million pounds for him. Madness. Oh, here it is. This is from Fabrizio Romano an hour ago about Xerxes. Manchester United have been informed about 40 million release clause of Xerxes, valid until mid-August. United discussing internally after talks with agent over salary and cost of deal. Milan still there with contract agreed. Commissions are the stumbling block. I mean, that update is just basically Fabrizio saying this is where we are at on Friday night. There's nothing in there that we don't necessarily know, but I think, as we all know, it's the 28th of June, and on Monday, it's the 1st of July. And on the 1st of July, that was the week, and I've been proven right. Wasn't hard to get proven right, but I did say I didn't think this week would be the week we saw anybody signed. I think next week will be the week where it all starts. So, in fact, I think the next 2 weeks, from July the 1st to July the 14th, is when a lot of things are going to happen. United are back in training a week on Monday, the 8th. I thought they were back late last week, but they're back a week on Monday. So the next 2 weeks are going to be really big. And from Monday, Rabiot is out of contract with Juventus. So I'm not saying we're signing Rabiot, maybe we will, but from Monday, Varane can say where he's going next, even though we know he's left Man United. So it's the start of a new financial football year. So I think things start to happen on Monday. Fabrizio just dropped STH on Ugarte. Delicate official. Can you describe in more English what that actually means? Because I don't know what that means. Please, that would be really nice of you, just to let me know what you mean with that. Yeah. I'm sure he'll let us know in a minute. Walking from deals is good, not patsies anymore, says Alan. I like the idea of that. Would love De Ligt at United, says Anthony Jenkins. Hi Goldbridge. Honestly, I think we should buy Ronaldo, says Turning 9. Thank you very much. Just on De Ligt versus Branthwaite, 53% of you have gone De Ligt and 47% of you gone with Branthwaite. Now, I like Branthwaite. I really like Branthwaite. And I like De Ligt. I like the fact that you are basically 50-50, because to me, that says you like them both. I wouldn't like it if it was massively one and not the other. So I'm quite happy with that. United Zane says, I love the podcast, mate. We're only doing one a week at the moment because it's off season, but I'm glad that the Ultras are still listening to it. So I really appreciate that, mate. I know you shouldn't scout the Euros or the World Cup, but has any player caught your eye you would consider for United? I would say that Dan Watson says walking away from deals is good unless they put in ridiculous low bids and then walk away. Then we'd get no one of quality. Yeah, you've got to set your limits. Max says Romano's update on Ugarte is basically nothing. Yeah, okay. I'm going to gift these memberships. Has anyone caught my eye in the World Cup or the Euros? You know me, I've been saying this for years. Don't scout players based on Euros and the World Cup. Look, Kvaratskhelia has been really good, but we've mentioned him. He's been good for Napoli. Many of us know who he is. It surprises me. You know what? Actually, I spoke to somebody. I was in Worcester last night, and I was in a bar, and somebody recognised me, and we were talking. And they were talking about the Euros, and they said, "Oh, I've never heard of this Kvaratskhelia." And I said, "Kvaratskhelia," and they were like, "Oh, he's amazing." But they never really knew about who he was. So, I think he is a player that's had a good Euros, but I knew about him before. So if United was going after him, I'd be quite happy. Somebody that's, Füllkrug. I knew about Füllkrug at Dortmund, but the only shame about him is that he's 31. If he was like 25, as an out-and-out old-fashioned striker, I really like him. But I like what he's been doing at Dortmund this year anyway. So, again, he'd be a player that I just think he's a bit old for us. But, yeah, I've been very impressed with him. I'm trying to think. There are quite a few that have just impressed me in the Euros, but I wouldn't necessarily bring them into Manchester United. I'm trying to think. There's somebody that really jumps out at me as having a really good Euros, but I would never buy them. Nico Williams, obviously. Again, he's had a good Euros. I think a lot of people would go for him, wouldn't they? Kante. Yeah, you wouldn't buy Kante based on Vitina. Yeah, Vitina's been good at Portugal. Chelsea and Aston Villa schemed inflated fees to comply with financial fair play, says Jose. Mate, Maatsen went for 35 and Kellerman went for 19. So really, what should have happened is Maatsen should have gone for 25 and the young lad should have gone for 9. They've just added money on to do 2 deals, haven't they? Go and prove that, Premier League, but everyone knows it. From Captain says there's a player from Georgia that's going to Monaco. He's good as well. Right, I need to do these bloody memberships. Fabrizio confirmed in his newest video that we're in contact with PSG for Ugarte, says Delicate Official. Thank you, mate. Thanks for coming back to us. I mean, we do know that because that broke on Thursday. Or was it Wednesday? It broke on Wednesday, didn't it? Ugarte. Was it Ben Jacobs who said it? So we knew about that on Wednesday, to be fair. The next thing is whether we put a bid in or not. I mean, I want to see Man United signing players now. You know, I'm very happy with what we're doing. I've done this for 10 years. I know what June's about. Sometimes I felt like writing June off. You know, it's been just... Remember the De Jong June, where it was just De Jong all June? You know, we this June, we're ending it with Ugarte and De Ligt. We've had Xerxes, Elise, say. Obviously, the Branthwaite bid went in at the start. We've been looking at and inquiring about a lot of players. And I think that's going to continue. We also had the Todibo update as well, haven't we? So we've had at least 6 or 7 good, strong stories about players that we're genuinely looking at. So, but of course, the next 2 weeks, I think we've got to start holding up the shirt. And also, as well, it's not in Man United's interest to sign anybody before July the 1st because you want them holding up the shirt. So, look, there's enough reasons why the first 2 weeks... If we hit the middle of July and we've only done 1 deal... I'll start to get a little bit panicky. Yeah, it's got to get done quite quickly, but we haven't got to do everything in the first 2 weeks of July, but we need to really progress over the next week or so. As back 6 or 8, but mainly 6, we should consider Sewald from Leipzig. He's young and an engine, says Stephen. Could we get Todibo on loan, then buy him in January, says Robbo. I don't know, mate. I don't know how it works with Todibo. I mean... The poor lad's probably better off going to another club because he can't wait for us, can he? You know, he can't put his career on hold for Manchester United. I think he is going to be in a position where he's going to have to move out elsewhere. Right, I'm about to gift these memberships. Get ready to rumble. Can he do it? He surely must. Euros are back tomorrow, yeah. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. That's not what I want to do. I don't want to do that. I want to gift memberships. Oh, I tell you what, it's 9 o'clock. Love Island crew. Don't think that because it's 2024, I don't realise what happens at 9 o'clock if I'm still live. I can read you like a book. Oh, I don't watch Love Island. You bloody do. Right, let's get those out. Get ready. If you've stayed, you might be getting a membership. It's coming through. It's coming up. It's coming up. It's coming up. It's there. Is it in the chats? Is it in the chat? Make sure you smash a like on the video, by the way. That should be going through now. Yes, there we go. That's what we do. That's what we do. Love that. 20 new members tonight. And thanks to those who gifted memberships as well. You're an absolute bunch of legends. We'll have the Hotometer back for you tomorrow morning. The final poll is 53% for De Ligt and 47% for Branthwaite. I think that shows that there is support for both of those players. Any updates on the striker situation, says a legend? Yes, literally just gave it on Xerxes. I would say in the next week, we will find out what's happening with Xerxes. In fact, I think next week, early next week, we will find out what's happening with that. Definitely. Okay, well, I will be back at 10 o'clock tomorrow, unless everything happens. Marcus Stevenson says, what's Love Island? You don't want to know. If it's not in your life, you're fine. Yeah, but back tomorrow at 10 o'clock, if nothing happens before then. The Hotometer will be back. Remember, this is how the Hotometer looked last time we did it. That's the Coldometer. Maybe we'll do the Coldometer and the Hotometer tomorrow. Most likely player to go. Has that changed? I don't think it really has. This was the Hotometer last time. That's definitely changed. That's about 2 weeks since we've changed it. That has definitely changed. And we'll have a new one for you tomorrow. God, look at those top two there. Frimpong's TikTok blue tick bio says Manchester says not now, Dave. Yeah, because he was at Man City, wasn't he? Thanks everyone for watching. Don't forget to check out Boohoo Man. Scan the QR code. 10% off. Delivered to your door on top of any other discounts they've got on the site using the code Goldbridge. You've been absolute legends tonight. It's been lovely to have the Friday back. The ultras in the chat on a Friday night. The real ones. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care. Stay safe. And I'll speak to you in a bit.